Welcome back to another video review. Today we're going to be looking at Overemotional by David Fenne. I've tried my best to keep this a spoiler-free video, however there are no promises because I can go off topic and off script. I have written the script as usual, but I also just want to read out from the beginning of the book the triggers that might be discussed in this video. This book does have a trigger list, so feel free to click off this video, come back if you're not ready for to go through or hear about any of these topics. So we've got the author's note, which says, Overemotional is a story about friendship, love and loneliness. It's finding who you are and where you fit into the world. There are depictions of violence, drugging and references to medical experimentation conducted on pregnant women in the past. Whilst it is my hope that this book is for everyone, I am including this note so that those sensitive to these issues can make an informed decision from the very beginning. After all, emotions have power even if they aren't magic. I'm not going to be going into the details on the triggers because, quite frankly, I think it's central to the plot, but I don't think it's something that I am comfortable repeating either. But yeah, I've also started straight on book 2 in the series. I am currently about 105 pages in, and yeah, so I didn't see this book coming at all. This was a book I picked up because the front cover looked unusual, and they're doing a bit in my library about LGBTQ at the moment, and I absolutely love reading LGBTQ books just because I tend to find usually there is more plot to the storybooks than we would have for a lot of straight romances, which is, I just haven't found any straight romances that I found interesting other than this one book that I read when I was a kid, and I cannot remember the name of it, so we're moving on from that. So if you're a fan of Strange Things, Misfits and Heartstopper, then that's essentially what this book was about. So we've got, let's see if I can remember the names. I believe he's called Marcus. I believe let's look. Yes, Percival, Freya, Marcus, and Troy. And if you look at these little pin badges, I thought that was a really cute detail in the front of the book. Now, Percy, it's called Overemotional, which I thought was a very clever play on words, because his magic power is that anytime he has extreme or strong feelings, or doesn't matter if it's happy or sad, whatever the emotion is, he starts to glow these different colours, and these different colours give him powers. So we have, if he's happy, negative, disaster, destruction happens. If he's sad, it's positive stuff, general fixer-upper, nice weather. If it's anger, it makes other people scared. Fear makes others angry. Disgust can pull things towards him like a human vacuum. Desire pushes things away. Guilt, all eyes are on him. And pride makes him invisible, which I think is an interesting magic system all the way through this book. We follow 17-year-old Stephen, but his last name's Percival, I think. But I also know that's what Freya calls him when she's mad at him. Yeah, and it was Marcus. Yeah, he's Marcus. Whenever he feels, yeah, it's just one of those books, really. I'm gonna read out from the script just because I don't want to talk about certain topics that were included in this book because they were quite dark and difficult to read, and I did have to put the book down and then come back to it. It was more shock value than anything, but I still highly recommend reading this book if you haven't read it yet. This is easily on my top 10 list somewhere. It just exists there. The second book so far, I am over 100 pages in. I am not enjoying it as much, but it starts off explosive. The middle is even more explosive. I kind of was expecting the certain parts of the development in the story, which has been a while since I could see where a plot was going and what the plot twists were doing and where they would be. However, in the same breath, a lot of it was like, it felt familiar to me to this book. It is also set in the UK, which I thought was very interesting as well, because we don't often get books that are set in the UK. So we've got Grunsby-on-Sea, miserable town. And then our main character finds out that he has other powers other than the ones mentioned at the start of the book, and he learns how to. He's going to go through different tests to learn how to control them and how he can use them. And after an incident where it kisses leads to a really unfortunate head exploding situation, our main character Stephen decides that he's going to hide in the gloomy town of Grunsby-on-Sea, and of course his friends can't leave him alone. Troy decides he needs to make sure that his friends are okay. Freya immediately has already set off and tracked him down. So we've got Stephen, who's like a bit of a panicking, thinking, well, if Freya can track me down, who else can track me down, kind of situation, where he's trying to hide from his powers, and he's not in denial that he has them, but he's just like trying to find how he can handle and kind of like cope and not hurt anybody. And his solution is to go hide in this peaceful town, and I say peaceful because nothing is as it seems as Grunsby-on-Sea, and in these sorts of books nothing ever really is. It's not often I'll read a book and I'll immediately buy a copy of the book so that I've got my own. There's like one in every 50 books probably I'd be buying the book to add to my bookshelf, and this is one of them that I've made it. And now I'm just waiting for the book to get delivered in the mail. I got it from a lot of books, like £3.80 I think, free postage as well because they had an offer on. But yeah, we've got Freya, who's the redhead. We've got who's dating Marcus. We've got Troy, who is out the closet, but for some reason Stephen can't pick up on the fact that he is also like him in more ways than just that. But yeah, the banter between the characters had me laughing out loud throughout the book. The jokes, the whole friendship, and like, it's not always peachy, it's not always happy, but just seeing how they interact with each other and how they interact with the world, as well as how they continue like developing their friendship as well. If you like Scooby-Doo, this might be a book for you. I thought the writing was absolutely brilliant. I thought the jokes, normally humour goes completely off my head. I'm not a huge fan of comedic writing, especially in literature, but I thought this book was brilliant, and I must admit there have been a few times in the sequel that I am currently reading that I also really I couldn't help but laugh. Like both the books so far have had me laughing. This one, it was all the way through. This one, I've only just started, as you can see, but it's quite a good book. If you're a fan of queer young adult fiction, and you were a fan of Heartstopper and you want to know what Heartstopper meeting Stranger Things would be like, then this is definitely a book that you need to pick up. It's a roller coaster, which was nice to have a book that didn't just have you feeling one way or the other about it, just to have it be up and down and all around. It's the first book in the Overemotional series. So the first book is called Overemotional, the second book is Overthinking, and the third book is, I think it's So Over This. If you just give me a second, I'll have a look. So yeah, it's So Over This, and it is available on Nat Geo Gallery still. I don't think this book officially has come out yet, now that I'm looking at it on Goodreads. Oh no, it has come out. It came out the 7th of November 2024, so it didn't come out too long ago. I don't like the look of the third cover, now that I'm looking at it. To me, it looks like we are going to get the return of a certain character that I really did not like in this book. I mean, I used to love him as much as this guy did, but he wasn't a very nice man. I didn't enjoy his character at the end. But yeah, it's a fun little read, and it's packed with lovable characters, it's packed with funny scenes, with jokes. It's just an all-around good book. I gave this a 5 star. I really liked as well how, so Troy's an American, so this guy here, he's from America, and I liked seeing how the book also frequently contrasted, like, it showed his struggle of moving to the UK and his struggle with UK terms versus American terms, but it wasn't just a one-sided thing. All of his friends in this book also had some form of difficulty with understanding certain terms that this guy used, and I just thought that the world building for this book was really well done. There were parts of the book, there were quite a few terms that were familiar to me, but I also didn't know. I did look them up, what different words meant, but I didn't need to, because the book goes on to explain what those terms mean, why they are important, which I just think is a really smart way to make a world more believable and just overall sell the book. Like I said, I don't want to get into the traumatic stuff that happened in the book, because it was those scenes were one where I had to keep making myself cups of tea, and I would have to like settle myself before continuing the book, because I didn't want to skip over them. I wanted to read and enjoy the whole book. But unfortunately as well, those sad scenes were really a massive part of this book's history, which I also think is a really good thing about world building if you're writing a book, to include the historical side of the world in there. It's just a shame as well how there are many like parallels to some of the things that are going on at the moment in the world, in different parts of the world, as well as in the past for Britain. I just thought it was really well done, and it was honestly quite scary at times, this book. So yeah, this is a 5 out of 5, and I'd give this 10 stars if I could. This is up there, and I really hope I can find more books like this. Have you read Overemotional, or have you read any of the series? And what were your thoughts on the book? I'm not sure David Fenne has got any other books. No, it's just this one book at the moment. It's just this one book series. So we've got Overemotional, Overthinking, and So Over This. If you do read the book, let me know what you think of it, and if you post anything on the about the book, let me know, because but I'll also be keeping my eye out for other stuff on this book series, because especially as the 3rd book has only recently been released, I suspect there'll be other stuff coming available soon about this book series, and I really hope David Fenne continues making young adult fiction like this, because these books were brilliant. But yeah, that's it for today's review, and I'll see you next time, bookworms. Bye!